Found in the woods. The shocking discovery of a missing teen. The disappearance. It was a crisp autumn afternoon in the small town of Maplewood, Pennsylvania. 16-year-old Hannah Cooper, an honor roll student and star on her school's soccer team, waved goodbye to her friends after practice. She promised she'd see them later that evening for a study session, but Hannah never made it home. When her mother, Susan, realized Hannah hadn't come back by dinner, panic set in. She called Hannah's cell phone again and again, but it went straight to voicemail. By 9 p.m., Susan contacted police. At first, officers suggested Hannah might have gone out with friends, but Susan knew her daughter. Hannah wasn't the type to disappear without telling someone. Within 24 hours, the search for Hannah began. Flyers plastered on lampposts, neighbors walking the streets with flashlights, and police combing through the surrounding woods. Maplewood wasn't used to crime, especially not a missing teen. The investigation. Detectives quickly discovered that Hannah's last known phone ping came from a cell tower near Whispering Pines Woods, a dense forest just outside town. That area had long been a place for teenagers to hang out, but it was also dangerous, full of hidden trails and abandoned cabins. Search teams, with dogs and helicopters, scoured the woods for days. Then they found something chilling. Hannah's backpack, lying half-buried beneath leaves near a trailhead. Inside were her notebooks, soccer cleats, and a half-empty water bottle. But her phone was missing. The discovery deepened suspicions. Was she lured into the woods? Did she run away? Or had someone silenced her? Investigators soon uncovered that Hannah had been messaging someone online in the weeks before her disappearance. Her best friend admitted Hannah talked about a new friend she met through a gaming app. The friend claimed Hannah described this person as funny, older, and different from everyone at school. This revelation turned the case upside down. Was Hannah tricked into meeting someone she thought she could trust? The shocking discovery. After nearly 2 weeks with no leads, hope was fading. Then, a hunter hiking deep in Whispering Pines Woods stumbled upon an old hunting cabin. Its windows were shattered, and the door hung loose. Inside, he made a horrifying discovery. Hannah, curled up on a dirty mattress, weak but alive. She had been missing for 13 days. When officers rushed to the scene, Hannah told them the truth. The person she had been messaging wasn't a teenager. It was a 32-year-old man who convinced her to meet him. He lured her into the woods, promising an adventure, but instead trapped her inside the cabin. Hannah's survival was nothing short of a miracle. She had survived on crackers, rainwater, and sheer determination. Her rescue shocked the community, and it sent a warning to parents everywhere about the dangers lurking online. Subscribe for more.
The Cheerleader Who Hid a Deadly Secret. Part 1. In every high school, there's always that one girl who seems to have it all: popularity, beauty, charm, and a smile that could light up the darkest room. For Emily Carter, a 17-year-old cheerleader at Westbridge High School, life seemed perfect. She was captain of the cheer squad, dating the school's star quarterback, and adored by teachers and classmates alike. But behind Emily's dazzling smile and flawless image was a secret, one so dark, so dangerous, that when it finally surfaced, the entire town would be left reeling in shock. This is the chilling story of the cheerleader who hid a deadly secret. Glowing star Emily Carter, the Golden Girl. Emily Carter wasn't just any teenager. She was the kind of girl people wrote about in yearbooks. Straight A student, head cheerleader, homecoming queen candidate, and the kind of person who made everyone feel special when she talked to them. Teachers praised her discipline, coaches admired her athleticism, and her classmates envied her confidence. Emily had grown up in a loving household with her parents, Mark and Lisa Carter, and her younger brother, Ryan. The Carters were a respected family in Westbridge, known for their involvement in church and community events. From the outside looking in, Emily's life seemed picture-perfect. But appearances, as the town would later learn, can be very deceiving. Broken heart a strain beneath the surface. Emily's boyfriend, Jake Thompson, was the star quarterback of Westbridge High. Together, they were the it couple, cheerleader and football hero, the kind of pair you'd see on a movie poster. But behind closed doors, their relationship wasn't as flawless as Instagram made it seem. Jake was charming and popular, but also jealous and controlling. He hated when Emily hung out with other guys, and sometimes even snapped at her if she didn't reply to his texts quickly enough. Emily confided in her best friend, Samantha, about Jake's temper, but she brushed it off, saying, "He just loves me too much." What nobody knew was that Jake wasn't Emily's only problem. Emily had been hiding something, a secret that she was terrified might ruin her reputation, her family, and her entire future. Detective hashed the first red flag. On a chilly October morning, Emily was late for practice. When Samantha called her, Emily answered breathlessly, claiming she had overslept. But when she showed up at school, her uniform was wrinkled, her hair was disheveled, and her usually flawless makeup was smudged. Samantha asked what was wrong, but Emily brushed it off with a nervous laugh. Still, that morning, several teammates noticed a faint bruise on Emily's arm, partly hidden under her cheer jacket. Rumors began to swirl. Was Emily in trouble? Was Jake hurting her? Or was there something else going on? The cheerleader who hid a deadly secret. Part 2. No one knew for sure. But what nobody imagined was how dark the truth really was. A week later, a jogger passing through a wooded area near the Carter family home stumbled upon something terrifying. A shovel half buried in the dirt, a patch of freshly dug soil, and sticking out from beneath the earth, the corner of a blood-stained cloth. Police were called immediately, and the area was cordoned off. When detectives arrived, they uncovered what appeared to be a shallow grave. Inside was the body of a man in his early 20s. College student from a nearby town, who had been reported missing 3 weeks earlier. The discovery sent shockwaves through Westbridge. Who could have done something so horrific, and why? At first, nobody connected Emily to the crime. She was Westbridge's sweetheart, the last person anyone would suspect of violence. But then detectives uncovered something chilling. Daniel Brooks wasn't a stranger to Emily. He had been texting her in the weeks before his disappearance. Witnesses had spotted Daniel's car near Westbridge High on multiple occasions. And then, the most damning detail, phone records placed Emily near the wooded area on the very night Daniel vanished. Suddenly, the town's golden girl wasn't just a cheerleader anymore. She was the prime suspect in a murder investigation. When police brought Emily in for questioning, she maintained her innocence, insisting she didn't know Daniel very well. "He was just a guy I met at a party," she claimed. But detectives weren't convinced. Emily's story had holes, and her nervous demeanor raised eyebrows. Samantha, her best friend, was stunned. She had never seen Emily look so scared before, like a girl whose carefully crafted world was crumbling. What nobody knew yet was that Emily wasn't just hiding a small secret. She was hiding something so devastating that, if revealed, Emily Carter, the cheerleader, the role model, the girl everyone admired, was now entangled in a murder case that threatened to expose the truth she had been running from. But what was Emily's deadly secret? Did she kill Daniel Brooks? Was she covering for someone else? Or was there a side to Emily's life that no one had ever seen before? One thing was certain: the cheerleader's perfect image was about to shatter. And the truth, when it finally came out, would leave Westbridge in shock. Tell us where you are watching us from. The cheerleader who hid a deadly secret. Part 3. The investigation heats up. Detectives working the Daniel Brooks case began piecing together the timeline of his final days. Daniel, a 21-year-old college student, had last been seen leaving a late-night coffee shop. His friends claimed he was meeting someone special, but he never revealed who. When Daniel's phone records were pulled, one name appeared over and over again in the weeks before: his disappearance, Emily Carter. The police now had their star cheerleader linked directly to the victim. But what puzzled them was why. Why would the most popular girl in school be secretly talking to an older college student, and why hide it? Detectives obtained access to Emily's private messages, and what they found shocked everyone. Emily and Daniel had been exchanging late-night texts, filled with nervous excitement and secrecy. Emily begged him not to show up at her school. She warned him not to tell anyone they were speaking. And just days before Daniel vanished, Emily had written, "If Jake finds out, everything will fall apart. You don't understand, I can't let this come out." This message changed everything. Now, Investigators weren't just looking at Emily as a random connection. They were looking at a love triangle gone wrong. Emily's double life. The image of Emily Carter, the sweet, all-American cheerleader, began to crack. Behind her perfect smile, Emily was living a double life. She had met Daniel at a party in a neighboring town. He was charming, confident, and, most importantly, different from Jake. Unlike Jake's possessive temper, Daniel treated her with kindness. To Emily, Daniel represented escape, freedom from the pressure of being perfect, freedom from Jake's control, freedom from her small-town cage. But Emily knew her relationship with Daniel had to stay hidden. If Jake found out, he would explode. If her family found out, they would be furious. And if the school discovered it, her reputation as the perfect girl would shatter. So Emily lied. She lied to her friends, to her parents, to Jake, and eventually, to herself. Face screaming in fear the night of the why, Emily had slipped out of her house after her parents went to bed. She told her best friend Samantha she was studying late, but instead, she met Daniel near the woods. According to Daniel's friends, he believed Emily was finally ready to make their relationship official. He had even spoken about confronting Jake and taking Emily away from all the drama. But Daniel never returned home. And Emily, when asked where she was that night, told police she was in her bedroom, asleep. Her alibi, however, was shaky. Her phone pinged off a tower less than a mile from where Daniel's body was later found. News spread like wildfire. Emily Carter, the golden girl of Westbridge High, was now at the center of a murder scandal. Parents whispered in grocery store aisles. Students flooded social media with theories. The cheerleader who hid a deadly secret. Westbridge was no longer the quiet little town it had once been. The news of Emily Carter and Jake Thompson being prime suspects in Daniel Brooks' murder turned every street corner, diner, and church pew into a courtroom. Half the town believed Emily was a manipulator, luring men into her web of lies until one ended up dead. The other half believed Jake had snapped in a jealous rage and Emily was only guilty of loving the wrong person. But the police weren't interested in opinions. They wanted evidence, and soon they would get it. Investigators dug deeper into the evidence collected from the crime scene. Soil samples from Daniel's shoes matched the wooded area where his body was buried. But here's where things got interesting. Traces of the same soil were also found in the trunk of Emily's car. Even more damning, when detectives searched her bedroom, they discovered a pair of sneakers hidden under her bed. The soles were caked with mud and tiny specks of blood that DNA confirmed belonged to Daniel Brooks. The evidence painted a terrifying picture. Emily wasn't just present that night. She had been directly involved. Crying face Emily's confession. Faced with mounting evidence, Emily finally broke down. But what she revealed wasn't what anyone expected. With tears streaming down her face, she told detectives the full story. Emily admitted she had been secretly seeing Daniel for months. On the night of his death, she met him in the woods to end things. Terrified that Jake would find out, Daniel begged her to stay with him, promising they could run away together. But then Jake showed up. He had followed her. The confrontation quickly escalated. Jake shoved Daniel fought back. And in the chaos, Emily tried to separate them. At some point, Emily grabbed a rock from the ground and, panicked, swung it wildly to stop the fight. The rock struck Daniel's head. He collapsed. Silent. Motionless. Emily froze. She hadn't meant to kill him, but the damage was done. Emily explained that Jake wanted to call the police immediately, but she stopped him. She was terrified of losing everything, her reputation, her family's trust, her future. So she begged Jake to help her hide what had happened. Under the cover of night, they dug a shallow grave in the woods and buried Daniel. Emily's hand shook as she pressed dirt over the body, knowing she was burying not just Daniel, but also the perfect life she had worked so hard to build. This was Emily's deadly secret. Not just that she had cheated, not just that she had lied, but that she had killed and then covered it up. When the truth came out, the courtroom was packed. Journalists, townsfolk, and even students from Westbridge High filled the seats, eager to hear the fate of the girl who once embodied perfection. The cheerleader who hid a deadly secret. The courtroom drama. When the truth came out, the courtroom was packed. Journalists, townsfolk, and even students from Westbridge High filled the seats, eager to hear the fate of the girl who once embodied perfection. The prosecution argued that Emily was manipulative, selfish, and willing to do anything, even kill, to protect her image. They painted her as a cold-blooded murderer who led Daniel to his death. The defense countered that Emily was a scared teenager, caught in a situation spiraling out of control. They insisted the killing was not premeditated but a tragic accident born of panic. Jake, meanwhile, was charged as an accessory. He admitted to helping bury the body but maintained he hadn't laid a hand on Daniel. His testimony, emotionally delivered, shook the courtroom. He confessed he had stayed silent only because Emily had begged him to. The verdict. After weeks of testimony, evidence, and emotional breakdowns, the jury returned with its decision. Emily Carter was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and obstruction of justice. Jake Thompson was found guilty of tampering with evidence and accessory after the fact. Emily's perfect life was gone. Instead of college acceptance letters and cheer competitions, she now faced a prison sentence. She was sentenced to 12 years in state prison. Jake received a lighter sentence of 5 years. The verdict left Westbridge divided. Some wept for Emily, believing she was a victim of circumstance. Others whispered she had finally shown her true colors. Samantha's reflection. For Samantha, Emily's best friend, the trial was heartbreaking. She visited Emily once in prison and barely recognized her. The bubbly cheerleader was gone. In her place was a pale, broken girl haunted by her choices. Emily confessed to Samantha, "I thought I could control everything. Jake, Daniel, my image, my future. But in the end, I destroyed it all. I'll never forgive myself." The legacy of the secret. The story of Emily Carter became a cautionary tale in Westbridge. Teachers used it to remind students that perfection is often an illusion. Parents whispered it to their children as a warning about choices and consequences. And for the students who once cheered for Emily under Friday night lights, the memory of the cheerleader who hid a deadly secret became a haunting reminder that even the brightest smiles can hide the darkest truths. Emily Carter's story isn't just about a cheerleader who lost control. It's about the weight of secrets, the cost of lies, and how one split-second decision can alter the course of a life forever. She wanted to be perfect. She wanted to be loved. But in the end, her fear of losing it all became the very thing that destroyed everything. Emily's deadly secret may have been buried in the woods that night, but the shockwaves of her choices will echo through Westbridge for years to come.